fans shocked by Jimin and Jungkook's sudden distance. The global fanbase of BTS was struck with a wave of shock when they realized something undeniably unusual. Jimin and Jungkook, two of the most inseparable members of the group, suddenly stopped appearing together in ways that once felt natural. For years, their bond was considered one of the warmest and closest connections inside BTS, sparking countless moments that fans replayed endlessly across TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and other platforms. But now, questions dominate every timeline. Why are Jimin and Jungkook so distant all of a sudden? Has something happened between them, or is this silence carefully orchestrated for reasons yet to be revealed? The silence is too loud to be ignored. Fans who once found comfort in seeing Jimin and Jungkook standing side by side now feel unsettled. It is no longer about rare appearances or busy schedules. It is about a visible absence, an emptiness that feels intentional. The very pairing that symbolized companionship and brotherhood is now clouded by mystery. And this mystery raises a deeper, almost haunting question. When two people who once seemed inseparable suddenly drift apart, should fans take it as reality, or could this be an illusion designed to spark speculation? Observers have noted that the shift did not happen gradually but rather with a suddenness that makes it impossible to dismiss as coincidence. Jimin has been seen pursuing individual projects, while Jungkook has been carving his own spotlight. While independence is natural in the careers of global superstars, the lack of visible interaction between them creates a sharp contrast to the closeness that once defined their dynamic. Why does the camera no longer capture the effortless moments between them? Why do fans feel like the bond has transformed into a wall of silence? Social media amplifies the unease. Clips and edits circulate widely, highlighting the stark absence of joint appearances. Fans dissect every frame, searching for traces of hidden messages or unspoken tension. Some argue that this separation is simply a natural evolution, the result of artistic growth and personal identity taking priority. Others whisper about conflicts, misunderstandings, or even deliberate management strategies designed to redirect attention. Which interpretation is closer to the truth? Can the distance we see be trusted as a reflection of reality, or is it merely a carefully crafted narrative to provoke endless debate? The emotional weight of this issue is undeniable. For many, Jimin and Jungkook represented not just a friendship but a source of emotional support and inspiration. Their interactions once carried the warmth of trust and the ease of genuine companionship. Now that warmth feels replaced by an icy gap, leaving fans restless and searching for answers. How should one interpret a silence that feels louder than words? How can a bond that seemed unshakable suddenly appear so fragile? Adding to the intrigue, fan communities have become divided. Some insist that nothing has changed, urging others not to fall for illusions created by the selective lens of media. Others, however, feel betrayed by the sudden lack of transparency. They point out that absence itself can be a statement, a signal that cannot be overlooked. Are we witnessing a private matter spilling into the public eye? Or is this simply the inevitable distance that arises when individuals grow in different directions? The psychological impact on fans cannot be underestimated. Emotional investments run deep, and the sudden void creates confusion, sadness, and even frustration. Some fans cling to hope, convinced that this distance is temporary. Others brace themselves for a painful realization that perhaps the closeness they cherished has become a relic of the past. In both scenarios, the uncertainty gnaws at the heart of the fandom, creating a tension that refuses to fade. What makes this situation even more provocative is the lack of clear answers. Every gesture, every absence, every silence becomes fuel for speculation. Was there an argument? Did something happen behind the scenes? Or are we, as fans, guilty of projecting too much into what might be nothing more than coincidence? Without concrete explanations, the speculation multiplies, creating an endless loop of theories that only deepens the mystery. And yet, perhaps this is the very essence of what makes the situation so explosive. The distance between Jimin and Jungkook is not just about two individuals. It is about the emotional bond fans believe they shared with them. When that bond appears fractured, the illusion of certainty collapses. Suddenly, the fandom is forced to confront a difficult truth. Not everything we see or do not see can be taken at face value. The line between reality and perception blurs, so where does that leave us? Are fans justified in feeling alarmed by the sudden silence? Or should they exercise caution before drawing conclusions? Is this a real rift between Jimin and Jungkook? Or is it an elaborate play of perception crafted by circumstance, media, or even the demands of fame itself? These are not questions that can be answered easily, but they are questions that demand reflection as we navigate this uncertainty. One thing is clear: the sudden distance between Jimin and Jungkook has already achieved one undeniable effect. It has ignited conversations, provoked emotions, and challenged perceptions. Fans are left with the daunting task of deciding for themselves what to believe. Is this silence a truth that must be accepted, or a deception meant to captivate attention? In the end, the most unsettling part of this mystery may not be the distance itself, but the possibility that we may never truly know why it exists. The sudden and visible distance between Jimin and Jungkook has undeniably left fans unsettled, yet the crucial question remains unanswered. Is this distance a genuine reflection of reality, or could it be an illusion deliberately magnified by media narratives and fan speculation? The absence of clarity forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth about modern media consumption. Are we perceiving facts, or are we being manipulated by carefully curated impressions? This is not a matter of casual curiosity. The shift has triggered widespread emotional reactions, yet few stop to consider whether these reactions are built on verified reality or speculative assumptions. When fans express shock, sadness, or even anger, are these emotions responding to actual events, or are they products of narratives amplified through TikTok edits, Twitter threads, YouTube commentaries, and countless other secondary interpretations? Can such platforms, designed primarily for engagement and virality, truly serve as reliable sources of truth? The heart of the issue lies in perception. Fans believe they are witnessing a fracture in one of the most cherished dynamics within BTS. Yet what exactly are they witnessing? A lack of public appearances does not necessarily equate to personal estrangement. The media cycle thrives on silence, often transforming absence into speculation and speculation into controversy. Should we not question whether the very distance we are analyzing has been exaggerated to serve the appetite for sensationalism? And if so, how much of our collective outrage is simply the result of manipulation? Consider how narratives are constructed. A single video clip is shared on TikTok, stripped of its broader context, and presented as evidence of tension. A tweet amplifies this interpretation, then hundreds of others repeat it, until it appears as though a global consensus has formed. But is this consensus based on evidence, or merely repetition? Should repetition itself be mistaken for truth? And if fans are reacting more to the echo chamber of speculation than to the reality of Jimin and Jungkook's relationship, are we not all complicit in fabricating a hoax of our own making? This reflection is not intended to dismiss fan concerns, but to sharpen them. It is possible that there is indeed a shift, an intentional separation, or even a hidden conflict. Yet without direct confirmation, is it not reckless to leap from absence to certainty? Would it not be more responsible to acknowledge the limits of what can be known, rather than rushing to conclusions that may ultimately prove false? How often do we, as consumers of media, allow our emotions to override our responsibility to question? The emotional intensity of this issue cannot be ignored. Fans feel betrayed not only by the possibility of separation but also by the ambiguity itself. Yet perhaps the true betrayal lies not in Jimin and Jungkook's behavior, but in the way media narratives exploit ambiguity to fuel endless speculation. Is the fandom truly reacting to the members? Or are they reacting to the structures that profit from their uncertainty? How many times have we seen similar cycles play out, where rumors are elevated above reality simply because they demand more attention? The provocation here is deliberate. If Jimin and Jungkook truly have drifted apart, then we are witnessing a personal reality intruding into the public sphere. But if they have not, then we must confront the unsettling reality that fans themselves are perpetuating a collective illusion. Which outcome is more troubling, that we are powerless to stop a genuine fracture, or that we are inventing one out of nothing? We must also recognize the fragility of trust in this situation. Fans claim loyalty to the members, yet are often the first to question their actions when narratives do not align with expectations. If trust is so easily shaken by absence, was it ever genuine to begin with? And if loyalty is conditional on constant visibility, what does that say about the nature of the bond between artist and fan? At the same time, it would be naive to dismiss every concern as baseless. Fame is a stage where private realities and public performances constantly collide. Could it be that Jimin and Jungkook's distance reflects the inevitable toll of individual careers diverging? Or is it possible that strategic management decisions deliberately limit their interactions to create anticipation, speculation, and renewed attention? If the latter is true, then fans are not only witnesses but also participants in a performance carefully engineered to provoke them. What remains consistent is uncertainty. No matter how many theories circulate, no matter how many supposed signs are dissected, the truth remains elusive. Should this not compel us to pause and ask, why do we demand answers that may never be ours to know? Why do we insist on transforming silence into scandal? Why is absence so intolerable to us that we must fill it with stories, whether factual or fictional? It is essential, then, to adopt a posture of skepticism and reflection. Each clip, each rumor, each article should be weighed carefully, not consumed blindly. Does this piece of information expand understanding, or does it merely intensify speculation? Does it reflect reality, or is it designed to manipulate emotion? Should we allow ourselves to be controlled by media cycles, or should we assert our responsibility to question everything we encounter? Ultimately, the sudden distance between Jimin and Jungkook may be a mirror, reflecting less about them and more about us. It reveals the way we consume narratives, the way we surrender to emotion without evidence, and the way we allow perception to replace fact. And this should disturb us deeply, because whether the distance is real or imagined, the intensity of our reaction proves how easily our beliefs can be shaped. So we must ask ourselves, are we truly shocked by Jimin and Jungkook's distance?